Hello, hello, hello. I welcome you all to this live session by Great Learning. And today we are doing something new. So, this is a domain which we have never covered at Great Learning till now. And we've got a lot of requests to take a live session or maybe come up with a tutorial on this amazing domain known as Internet of Things. So, your wish is our command, and here we are with a live session on Internet of Things. Now, before we go ahead, just give me a confirmation if you guys can hear me and if you can see my screen. Just give me a quick confirmation. Write down yes, 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 or you can see my screen or you can hear me so that I know that everything is perfect and I can start off with this session. And in the meanwhile, I'd like to inform you folks about this amazing platform called as Great Learning Academy. So Great Learning Academy is a free initiative by Great Learning where you have a lot of courses. So as you see, we have courses with respect to data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, big data, and a lot. And whenever you enroll or complete any of these courses, you will get a course completion certificate, which you can go ahead and add onto your resume or onto your LinkedIn page, which will be a huge value add to you guys. Isn't that amazing? And not just that, we recommend you all of these courses because these courses have been curated by industry experts. So all of these courses which you see, they have been curated by industry experts, and we can assure you that your learning experience would really be great. So the link for Great Learning Academy would be available to you in the chat. So someone from my team would be putting up the link for that over there, and you can go there and register to whichever course you want. And let's say somehow if you do not have a laptop or a computer with you and you'd want to upskill, well, you don't need to worry at all because we also have the Great Learning app. So all you have to do is you can download the Great Learning app and learn all of these courses on that app as well. And again, you'll be able to find the link of Great Learning app in the description. Again, someone from my team will be putting the link for Great Learning app over there. So now that everything is set, what I'll do is let me head to the chat and see if there are any questions or if there are any suggestions from your sides. I see a lot of yes, yes, yes. We can hear you, crystal clear sound. That is amazing. And folks, since this is the first time that we are conducting a session on IoT, I want this session to be extremely interactive. Whatever questions you have, whatever suggestions you have, keep them coming, right? You can, you can put up 10 questions or even 100 questions if you have, because I'm here to help you out. We conduct all of these live sessions to help you folks, right? You are our audience and you are the people for whom we conduct these live sessions. So do not be shy to put your questions or to put forward your suggestions. And I also see that there's a watching of 56 and we've got only 15 likes. So if we can quickly get 50 likes, that would be amazing, right? If all of you can quickly hit the like button and get us to 50 likes, that would be amazing. And all of the folks who haven't hit subscribe to our channel, please hit the subscribe button and also hit the bell icon. So whenever we are taking new live sessions or whenever we are coming up with new tutorials, you'll get a notification if you hit the bell icon and also if you subscribe to our channel. And also, let's say if you find our courses to be insightful, you can recommend about Great Learning Academy to your friends or to your colleagues so that even they can upskill with you, because learning is something which everyone needs to do, and if learning happens in a group, nothing better than that. So you can upskill with your friends or with your colleagues, and that would be a great experience for all of your folks. So now that we've got all of the introductions set, it is time for today's topic. So let's get rolling. Internet of Things. Now, before I start off by telling you what exactly is Internet of Things, I want you guys to answer. I mean, I know I'm here to tell you what is Internet of Things, but still, what is Internet of Things? What do you think? Like, break it down. Internet of Things. What do you understand by this term called as Internet of Things? Right, I'll wait for a couple of seconds for you to answer, or a couple of minutes, I guess. Keep your answers coming. I'll just wait for I'll just wait for 15 to 20 seconds. I want all of you to tell me what exactly do you understand by this term called as Internet of Things. Baltej Singh is saying, thank you very much for the wonderful lectures you're delivering. Stay blessed. Thank you very much, Baltej, and we are glad that you love all of your lectures. We do it for you guys, and it's so amazing that you love our lectures. Big Seeker Aditya is saying make something about IoT with ML. Sure. So now that we've started with this domain of IoT, there'll be a lot more live sessions and a lot more recordings coming up with this particular domain. So rest assured, we have taken up your suggestion and we will definitely do something about that. Probit is saying just all things would be electronic or smart, just like a robot. That's an interesting explanation. Could you elaborate it? So when you say everything is electronic, what do you mean by that? Crazy Tech World is saying things that run by internet. Interesting. That is really interesting. Things connected to internet. Again, interesting. Interconnection of technology, network of devices on internet, network of connected devices around us which can communicate with each other, collect data and make sense of this data. Okay, so seems like all of you folks are putting up a lot of technical definitions. I'll put it to you in simple terms. So what is IoT? You have non-living things, right? So let's say if you have living things, or let's just say humans, right? Humans can communicate with each other, isn't it? Why are humans smart? Because humans can communicate with each other. Now let's leave out humans. Let's say a dog can communicate with another dog. A cat can communicate with another cat, right? They have a means of communication. But is it possible that two non-living things can communicate with each other? So I have this very lame joke on the screen right now. So you have a smart car asking a smart watch what is it doing right now, and the smart watch replies just passing time, bro, right? So here you have two non-living things communicating with each other, speaking with each other, and what is the medium over here? The medium is internet. Now when you break it down, Internet of Things, so what exactly are these things? So whatever has an embedded chip inside it, right? So someone has said electronic devices, whatever is electronic. And now a smart watch or a smart car, what do they have? They have some embedded chips. We can call them microcontrollers or microchips. So you can just consider them to be really, really small computers. You would have heard of the term microcomputer, isn't it? So you have a laptop with you. Right now, I am taking this live session via a laptop, and that laptop would have a chip inside it, which is the CPU. Similarly, there is a smart car, and this smart car would also have a microchip embedded in it. And also we have a smart watch, which again would have a microchip or a microcontroller embedded in it. And those two, because there are these microchips embedded in these two devices, we can connect these two devices over the internet. Now when I say we can connect these two devices over the internet, the connection is on the cloud. So this is where cloud becomes a really important factor when it comes to Internet of Things. Everything is connected over the cloud, and all of your devices, all of your smart devices which have these microchips and microcontrollers can connect with each other, can communicate with each other. Isn't it just amazing, right? So if you guys are able to follow me till here, just give me a quick confirmation. Do you understand what is IoT? So in simple terms, we are connecting non-living things with each other, right? You have two non-living things and you're connecting them with each other. And how are you connecting? We are connecting them with the help of internet and with the help of these chips, which are microchips or microcontrollers. So this is IoT. Now we have this really amazing example, right? So we've got a smart car, a smartphone, and a smartwatch, and all of these smart devices are connected over the cloud. Now I'll give you guys an example. So let's say I'm currently driving in my car, and as soon as I reach my home, I would want the AC to be set at 18 degrees Celsius, right? I do not want to manually take the AC remote and go near the AC and click the button and then go to my bed because I'm extremely lazy. So I just want to go to my house, collapse on my bed, and I want the AC to automatically be set at 18 degrees Celsius. How do you think is that possible? Well, the answer is Internet of Things. Now, let's say if I'm sitting in my smart car, I also have my smartphone with me, and also there's a chip inserted in the AC in my home. So what happens is I'll turn on the navigation in my phone. Now when I turn on the navigation in my phone, so since my phone, my car and the AC are connected over the cloud, so let's say the chip in the AC would automatically know the distance between the car or where I am and the house. So let's say right now if it's 5 kilometers, and if I turn the navigation on, as the distance keeps on increasing, the chip in the AC would also know. And as soon as I reach home, so when I say as soon as I reach home, as soon as when the distance becomes zero, what the chip inside the AC does is it would maybe send a digital signal which would turn on the AC or set the AC to 18 degrees Celsius. So this is how Internet of Things work. So you would have, if you have seen this movie called as Avengers, then Robert Downey Jr. Actually, Iron Man has this super AI called as Jarvis, right? Not just Avengers. If you have seen any of the Iron Man movies, you would know about this AI assistant called as Jarvis. What exactly is it? Jarvis connects all of the devices at Iron Man's home with the help of this domain called as IoT, right? So Iron Man just has to ask Jarvis, he doesn't even have to ask Jarvis. Let's say as soon as Iron Man enters the home, Jarvis takes care of everything, right? So Jarvis, what it does is it uses IoT to connect all of these non-living smart things with each other. And Jarvis is also something which Mark Zuckerberg has built, right? The CEO of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, he also has built this AI assistant called as Jarvis. I'm not sure if you have seen any of Jarvis's videos on YouTube or maybe on his own Facebook profile. So he has created this amazing AI with the help of which he is able to connect all of these non-living things together, and they perform seamlessly without any human intervention, right? This term, without human intervention, this is extremely important. This is what makes IoT so amazing. A human does not have to do anything. All of the communication happens between these smart devices automatically, right? There is zero intervention of humans involved over here. And this is the amazing thing about IoT. Now let me just go to the chat and see if there are any questions. Shivam Rock is saying, can you tell in Hindi? Well, this session is scheduled in English and I would only be able to take this session in English. But then again, if there is a lot of request coming from a lot of folks to take again a new session in Hindi, maybe we can schedule another session next week or next to next week where I'll take Internet of Things in Hindi. That is absolutely not a problem. But today's session would be in English. Naveen is saying Jarvis, Ahmed, Jarvis, question mark, question mark, question mark. So, well, Jarvis, you can just Google what exactly is Jarvis. You would know what it is. Vivek Yadav India is saying Nai base. Okay, where did Nai base come from over here? Raj Rao is saying Arduino, Raspberry Pi, BeagleBoard are microcontrollers. Yes, that is absolutely right. And these are some things which we'll also learn in today's session. So Raspberry Pi, Arduino, what exactly are these? Well, they are microcontrollers. And what exactly are microcontrollers? You can consider them to be mini computers or microcomputers. So as you have, let's say if you have a desktop with you, that desktop would have a CPU. But the CPU is massive, isn't it? So all of the processing which this CPU does would be available to you in just a small chip, a chip which is of this size. That's it, right? And it is these microcontrollers which are embedded in all of these smart devices. Raj Roy is giving an example, Amazon Alexa. Yes, but it is not extremely smart. So when you compare Jarvis with Alexa, Jarvis is, let's say, 10 times or even 20 times smarter than what Alexa is. Probit is saying smart door, smart watch, smart mirror. Absolutely. There are a lot of examples for this. Farman Khan is asking, can we use Arduino for industrial projects? Absolutely. But when you say Arduino for industrial projects, maybe you'd have to use, let's say, around 5 to 6 Arduinos at the same time. I'm not sure what is the scale of your project, but when you say industrial, I'm assuming that this would involve a lot of processing power. So processing power of a single Arduino or of a single Raspberry Pi would be quite less. So let's say again give you a simple example. Let's say if you have to, let's say if there's a door, and you have to, you have, let's say if that door senses whenever a person is coming in, we'll just call it smart door. So if this door is extremely heavy, to move this particular door or for this door to automatically, swing, back and forth, you would need more than one sensor. You would probably need around 10 to 20 sensors for this to happen. So this would depend on the scale of your project, and depending on that scale, you need to see how many Arduinos or how many Raspberry Pis you'd actually need. So again, now that we know the basics of it, we'll understand the evolution of internet. So let's start off by understanding how is our world in the pre-internet era. Well, in the pre-internet era, life and connectivity both were extremely slow. Yes, people delivered messages through pigeons. So if you have seen any of your Bollywood movies or any of the Indian movies, so you would see in those old songs where a pigeon delivers a love letter to to your lover over there. So the pigeon was the best social media platform you had there. So whatever gossip you had to tell your best friend, so let's say if your best friend lived in another city, in the pre-internet era, if your best friend lived in another city and you had to gossip with your best friend, well, pigeon was your only option. Then after pigeon, we had landlines. So again, landlines, the cost of landlines itself. So I remember when maybe I was 7 or 8 years old, the STD charges, they were extremely high. So I guess for 1 minute it used to be around 3 or 4 rupees if I'm not wrong. For a single STD call, it used to be 3 or 4 rupees for 1 minute. Right, those were your old landline days, PCO days, right? If I'm, if I remember it correctly, those were the pre-internet days when communication was extremely slow. You only had landlines, you had telegrams, right? Who actually remembers, I'm not talking about the Telegram app. There was something called as a telegram where the message used to be extremely brief, right? So let's say if you're going to Hyderabad tomorrow, the you would used to write like this: coming Hyderabad tomorrow, stop. You did not even use full sentences when you were writing a telegram because you were charged per word when you are writing a telegram. Imagine you are charged per word. Now on WhatsApp, you are able to send thousands of messages, right? And there is no charge. Your only charge is your internet bill over there. That's it. But if you had to send a telegram back in those days, you were charged for every single word, right? So that was your means of communication. You had your full-fledged letters, you had telegrams, you had what else did you have? Yeah, well, pigeons, absolutely. Well, they were our only living social media platforms over there which used to communicate the message, right? So this was the pre-internet era. Let me again go to the chat and see what you guys are saying. Anupriya is asking difference between IoT and cloud. That's a great question. And now I'll answer it this way. So when you say Internet of Things is something which is feasible only because of cloud. If there was no cloud computing or if there was no cloud technology, Internet of Things would not have been possible. Now, if I talk about cloud, it's you're not just connecting non-living things, but you can do a lot of things on cloud. But when we say IoT, when we say IoT, you are connecting non-living things over the cloud, right? So simple definition, remember this. When you are connecting non-living things over the cloud, that is what is known as IoT. But what exactly is cloud? Cloud is something where you have virtual storage. So, and when it comes to not just virtual storage, you also have virtual storage and virtual processing, right? So let's say if again, so I have my laptop over here and I have processed something. I have simple applications such as Eclipse for Java, I have RStudio for R, I have PyCharm for Python, and all of them, if I want to create any of these applications, I could use any of these IDs over here in my laptop. But let's say once I complete this application and I do not have my laptop with me, I want to open these applications through my phone and I would need a processor. So how can I get this? So there'd be a lot of processors over the cloud itself. So cloud provides you storage capacity as well as processing capacity, right? And you do not need any physical device for it. So cloud is basically, let's say, you can consider cloud to be a situation where where you do not have a physical device, where you do not have a physical device, and you can actually do all of your processing and all of your storage at one particular place. So I create my application right now, and tomorrow, let's say if I want to quickly update my app, I can quickly log on to my AWS account or Azure account and maybe open, let's say if I have any processing tool on the cloud, I can use that processing tool and update whatever I have over there. So this is how cloud works. So cloud is extremely diverse, and IoT is something which is feasible because of cloud. So I hope that answers your question. Kashyap Pandu is saying remote storage. Yes, that is absolutely right. Vinay Jagdale is saying, I remember STD call cost was 3.5 rupees. Oh, that's a lot, isn't it? So 3.5 rupees for 1 minute. I mean, good old days, aren't they? Probit is saying salary on specific date on each month would be set and does not need to transfer each month. Is an example of IoT. Let me read this again. Salary on specific date on each month would be set and does not need to transfer each month. That is just analytics, isn't it? So you're just automating tasks, but then again, you're not really connecting any devices over here. When you talk about automatically transferring salary, that is something which is automated. You can use tools such as RPA, right? So RPA is something which can be used over here, or you can just use simple ML algorithms which can automate your tasks. And you do not need any external devices to transfer your money over there. So this is not really an example of IoT, but this would be an example of automation or an example of ML. Right. So we have talked about pre-internet. Now, after that, so after the age of landlines and after the age of your telegrams and postcards, we had a revolution. We have something called as internet, and as the internet would say, let me do the talking, you pigeon. So, right, everything became extremely easy. But there was only one problem. So let's say in maybe early 1990s, we did have internet, but the problem was internet was extremely costly. Again, I remember this, it's only the few privileged people in India, especially who actually had, internet at their houses. We did not have the geo revolution back then. right? So after Geo started, that is when everyone has internet over their phones, over their laptops. But pre-Geo, and especially in early 1990s or the late 1980s, internet was, it was actually a privilege which only the rich and the affluent had access to. So, but the innovation which it did was you did not have to, you did not have to physically send information. So let's say if I have to speak with my friend, I do not have to call him. I can just send a text message. So there were a lot of messaging sites back then as well. There was something called as Hotmail, if I'm not wrong. So that was something which used to be a fad among the teenagers in 1990s or 1980s. Then we had Google Talk or something like that. Again, if I don't remember it clearly. So you had a lot of messengers back then as well, which were quite famous, and that was a whole new revolution. So, before, this was your pre-WhatsApp, pre-Telegram days when people used to discuss on your messenger sites. And I'm again not sure how many of you, know about I'm not actually sure. I don't remember the name of this messenger exactly, so I'll just leave it out. So this was the dawn of internet, and this is when everyone started to realize the ease of communication which you can do over here. So this is the dawn of internet. And after this, we have the social media sites coming up, and this era is known as Internet of People. So before this, we only had messenger sites, which were like Google, which were like Gmail and Hotmail, and so on. After this, we have the social media platforms, which are Twitter, Facebook. You also had Orkut. So again, I'm not sure how many of you remember Orkut. So Orkut was replaced by Facebook. So, as you see, stupid humans don't know we are controlling them. Yes, absolutely. So, we mindlessly spend a lot of time on all of these social media sites, and it's actually these social media sites which are controlling us. But what these social media sites are doing is they are connecting people. So if I have to speak with our prime minister, I just have to write a message and tag our prime minister on Twitter, and it will be done. Similarly, let's say if I have to speak with Mahendra Singh Dhoni, so I just have to go to Twitter and maybe tag him and write, I loved your performance and it was so sad to see you retire. Similarly, if I want to speak with Cristiano Ronaldo, I can just tag him on Twitter and I can write whatever message I have. So all of your influencers, all of your celebrities are there on all of these social media sites, and the connectivity has become the easiest in this particular era. So we call, the so-called millennials, right, who have who wouldn't know what a landline is, or who do not know the pre-internet era. I believe they're extremely lucky. So right now it's as if no, the communication is extremely easy, but this wasn't the situation back around 10 to 15 years or before that, isn't it? So I'm just going through your chat again and checking if there are any more questions. So again, you guys can put up any questions that you have, any suggestions that you have. I will take them up. Akshay Sinha is saying generally all people were going to cyber cafe. Yes, that's right. I also remember those days when when I went to cyber cafe to play this game called as it was Project IGI. I guess if I'm not wrong, again it was Project IGI, and there were some other really really lame games that I used to play a lot. Kashyap Pandu is saying internet connectivity cost is too high and too risky. Mohammed Arshad is asking after session Great Learning provides certificate or not. So Arshad, if you need a certificate, so for live sessions, unfortunately we do not provide a certificate. So if you enroll to any of our courses on Great Learning Academy, so as you see over here, if you enroll to any of our courses and complete the courses over here, enrolling is not enough because we want you guys to learn. So you'd have to complete the courses which are present on Great Learning Academy, and after completing them, you will have a small assignment. Maybe you'd have to complete a quiz or you'd have to complete an assignment, and after that, you will get your certificate. Right? So again, if you guys haven't yet checked out Great Learning Academy or registered to any of these courses over here, please do check this out, and it will be an amazing experience, I can assure you that. And also about the Great Learning app, so let's say if you do not have a desktop with you or if you do not have a laptop with you and if you want to learn through an app, we also have the Great Learning app, and you'll be able to find the link in the chat right now. All right. On that note, again, I see that there's a watching of 88 and we've got only 66 likes. So if we can quickly get 22 more likes, that would be amazing. So let's actually aim for 100 likes. So in the next 5 minutes, if we can get to 100 likes, that would be amazing. And all of the new folks who haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe. And if you haven't yet hit the bell icon, also do hit the bell icon. That would be awesome. So this is the era of Internet of People. Now we will finally head on to the era of Internet of Things, making non-living things speak with each other, and we've understood what exactly is IoT. So we have all of these smart devices which are embedded with chips, and we are able to connect them over the cloud. Now that this is clear, we will head on to the most important part of this particular session, which is the IoT architecture. So we've got 4 stages in the IoT architecture. Our first stage is known as acquisition, or you can also call it data acquisition. So if you have attended any of my data science lectures, even there your first stage was data acquisition. So if you have to do anything, your first stage always is data acquisition, isn't it? And now, how exactly are you able to acquire data? Well, the answer is with the help of sensors and actuators. You have something called as sensors and actuators. Now, what exactly are these sensors and actuators? These are the very microcontrollers and the microchips which I had talked about. Your Arduino, Raspberry Pi, and if you have any other microchips or microcontrollers, all of these would be coming in your first stage. Right? These are the microcontrollers or the microchips which would help you to acquire the data from your surroundings. Now, let's say if I have to create a project where, let's say if it's a conference room, and let's say if automatically once everyone leaves the room, the lights and the fans have to be turned off. Now, how do you do this? So you would need a heat sensor probably, and also a light sensor, isn't it? Not really a light sensor, let's just call it a heat sensor. Now, what this heat sensor would do is this heat sensor again would have certain this heat sensor again would nothing be but a microcontroller or a microchip which would be able to acquire data from its surroundings. So this heat sensor, let's say if right now I'm in this particular room, and if there are 10 people in this room, the heat, the exact heat present in this room would be different, and once everyone leaves this room, the heat in this room would be totally different. And this is what your heat sensor would be able to do. It will acquire the data. Now, as soon as, so let's say once all of the 10 people leave this room, the heat sensor would automatically be, it will automatically understand that there's a change in the heat values. Now, as soon as it understands that there's a change in the temperature, this is, this is sent to some other device which has to process it. So we have acquired the data. Once the data acquisition is done, we have the digitization phase. Now, why is this required? Because whatever data you're acquiring, that is present in analog. So you have to convert your analog signals into digital signals. So whether you have a heat sensor or whether you have I don't know, whatever sensor you have. So all of these sensors, all of these microcontrollers would be collecting data in analog form. And if you have to convert these analog form into digital form, again, you would need certain devices over there. And again, let's say a device like Arduino or a Raspberry Pi, this is what it would do. So let's say if your Arduino has certain slots and one of those slots would be for a heat sensor. Now, once your heat sensor collects the temperature, now this temperature has to be converted from analog to digital. And that is something which your Arduino or Raspberry Pi does. Now, once that is done, this is where your analytics part starts. So when we talk about analytics, here again, there is a lot of data science and ML involved. So someone in the chat was talking about IoT with a combination of machine learning. Yes. As I've told you, Internet of Things, if you have to connect non-living things with each other, this is actually a Herculean task, and you would need a combination of cloud computing, machine learning, and also embedded systems, right? So when you combine embedded systems plus cloud computing plus ML together, what you have is known as Internet of Things. So we have looked at the first two stages. We have acquired the data through some sensors, and the acquired data is converted from analog form to digital form by your Arduino or Raspberry Pi. And once that is done, this is where all of your analytics happens. And how do you do the analytics? Well, so let's say if it's Raspberry Pi, the code normally happens in Python. Similarly, let's say if it's Arduino, the code normally happens in C sharp. So you can write a simple Python code for Raspberry Pi, and you can write a simple C sharp code if it's Arduino. Now, all of the code, so let's say if I have to give you an example of a smart chair, right? And what does this smart chair do? Yeah, let's actually think what is a smart chair capable of. So maybe let's say if a chair is vacant as it is, and as soon as someone sits on the chair, it would maybe send some signal to the AC over there. So let's say you have a smart chair and a smart AC, or maybe a smart fan. Let's actually take a smart AC. So you have some chip, maybe an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi in your smart chair, and also you have an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi in your AC as well. And what you'll do is you will write a Python code which will be connecting your smart chair as well as your AC. And what happens is, now how will your smart chair function? Let's actually say if it's a tilting chair. Now let's say if I sit on this chair and if I lean back, the back of your chair would tilt a bit. And as soon as there's a change in the angle of the back of your chair, this signal would be communicated to the chip which is there in your AC. And since there's a change in angle, you will write a code such that if there is a change, then turn on the AC. Now again, let's say as someone gets up from your smart chair. So when someone gets up, your angle is back to normal. So you'll again write another code where let's say if the angle is back to normal, the AC is turned off. So all of these analytics is written for your Arduino or Raspberry Pi. So again, your languages are, it would be Python for Raspberry Pi and it would be C sharp for Arduino. And finally, once everything is done, then you have cloud. So all of the information which you have, where is it stored? It is cloud. All of the processing which is supposed to be done, where is it done? It is cloud, right? So the single point of contact for all of your devices would be cloud. All of your data would be stored there. All of your processing happens there. And this is the entire architecture of Internet of Things. And I hope everyone is clear with this. Give me a confirmation, guys, if you can follow me or not. I want this session to be extremely interactive. If you have any doubts at all, just give me a put them up in the chat. I will take them up. I am here to help you guys out. Kashyap Pandu is saying automated smart chairs. Kashyap Pandu is saying AIoT is an emerging cutting edge tech. Absolutely, definitely yes. Amazon Alexa is based on data analytics. So I would say Amazon Alexa is a combination of natural language processing and a bit of cloud. I'd say it's not exactly IoT per se, but it's more of NLP and it's a bit of cloud. So let's say if you ask Alexa to do something, what is happening over there? It is NLP, isn't it? So you definitely need natural language processing. If you have to convert your natural language into a machine understandable language, you need to have knowledge of something called as natural language processing. And in this particular domain, you'll be using a lot of recurrent neural networks. And with the help of recurrent neural networks, you'll be able to convert a natural language into a machine understandable language. Parampreet Singh is saying smart houses in future. Well, we already have smart houses. So for all of you who haven't yet checked out Jarvis, just I'd tell you to just go to Google and type down Mark Zuckerberg Jarvis, and you'll get to know what a smart house is. You know what a smart house actually is. So what this guy Mark Zuckerberg has done is absolutely amazing, and we have smart houses right now. They are not a thing of the future. A smart house is something which we have right now. Tanmay is saying, so that means to learn IoT, we need to learn embedded systems first. Well, you do not need to have extreme depth of embedded systems, but yes, embedded systems is also something which you need to have knowledge on. So as I've told you, you need to have knowledge of embedded systems plus ML plus cloud. All of these three things combined together, what you have is IoT. And that is why IoT is still a niche. You don't have a lot of IoT engineers or a lot of IoT developers in India currently, or maybe even in US. This is still a niche field, and you still have only a few skilled people in this particular field. And if you are actually really good at IoT, I'm pretty sure that you'll be paid a lot, right? It's always good to take up new technologies right now. So there's a lot of demand for ML, there's a lot of demand for cloud. Similarly, there's a lot of demand for IoT. The major problem for IoT is, even though there's a lot of demand, not many people know about it, and not many people even know how to get started with this domain called as IoT, right? So if you're good with this, well, you have a lot of opportunities, and there's very less competition for you right now in the market, right? So there are very few people who know what this domain is actually. So if you actually have the skills in this, well, there are opportunities and there's less competition. So, maybe this would be a right time for you to jump into this field of Internet of Things. Ahmed is saying the whole process is clear, and now I understood what Raspberry Pi and Arduino are used for. Thank you. Well, that's good to know, Ahmed. Kushal is saying acquire the data from surroundings, digitize it like analogs. Analytics here includes MI and data science, and they all combine to make IoT. And at last, we need cloud to store all the process data. Well, that's a great summary, Kushal, right? So these are, you have summed up all of the four stages. You acquire the data, you convert the analog signals into digital signals, then you do the processing, and then everything is connected over the cloud. As simple as that. Sneha is asking, can you explain how IoT is used in medical field? Oh, that's a great question. So, again, I'll give you a very simple example. So, let's say if there's a patient who is not currently in hospital, who is actually at his home, and he has been advised to take some medicines, and let's say he has a smartwatch or maybe some sort of smart device which tracks all of his, let's say it tracks how what are his blood levels, what are his how is his heartbeat, and all of those important criteria. And there's, let's say, a machine in the hospital where let's say you have a nurse or a medical specialist who keeps track of the progress of this particular patient, right? So let's say if there's any change in this patient's heartbeat or blood levels or maybe glucose levels, hemoglobin levels, whatever it is. So let's say the patient has any problem, any disease, and all of his health stats are being tracked at the hospital. And how are they being tracked in the hospital? Well, the answer is IoT. There is some smart device which is attached to this patient, and this patient is at his home. This patient is not at the hospital. And this smart device is sending all of his health statistics to a machine in the hospital, and there is a medical specialist who is continuously tracking all of these. So let's say if there is any change, any anomaly in the health statistics, the medical professional is immediately notified of it. And let's say if there is any change, which is, if he has to give some advice to the to this patient over here, he can immediately call this patient up and tell him that this is the problem, maybe this is supposed to be done over here. Let's say you're not eating enough, you have to eat this. Your blood levels have dropped, do this. You're not exercising a lot, start exercising, right? You're eating a lot, stop eating, stop eating so much. So these are some things which can easily be monitored, which can easily be done in a medical setting or a medical professional setting. So I hope that answers your question. Kashyap Pandu is saying used to show the nearest hospitals and identifying the distance of accident spot and hospital location. Absolutely right. So let's see if there's any accident over here which happens. And if there's a smart device, if let's say someone is wearing a smart device or the ambulance has some smart device, then immediately that can be tracked by someone at the hospital and all of the information can be sent out immediately. Right. So, folks, I have taken enough questions, and again, if you have, if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please do that, and also hit the bell icon. That would help us a lot. And if you haven't yet liked our video, also please do that. And finally, I'd like to tell you guys again about Great Learning Academy. So if you haven't yet checked this out, go and check Great Learning Academy. You have a lot of courses for free over here. And once you complete any of these courses, you will get a course completion certificate, which you can add onto your resume or onto your LinkedIn page. And that would be a huge value add to you folks. And also, let's see, if you do not have a system or a laptop with you, you can also learn through an app, and you'll be able to find the link of the Great Learning app in the chat right now. So folks, this would be it from my side, and I'll just quickly check if there are any final questions. So I'll take up this final question by Tanmay. So Tanmay is asking, what is the future of IoT when compared to web development? Well, web development is something which is extremely generic, and it's only front end development. But IoT is something which is the future, and there'll be a lot of things where you will require, as I've told you, as I've given these applications, right? Everything will be a domain of IoT in the future. You have to connect all of the non-living things or all of the smart things together. And right now it's only Mark Zuckerberg who has Jarvis, but let's say after maybe 15 years, Jarvis would be a very common thing. So let's say 15 years back, internet was not so common. Not everyone had internet at their houses. But because of Geo, everyone has internet. So similarly, right now it's only Mark Zuckerberg who has Jarvis. But maybe after 15 years, who knows? Jarvis would be a common thing, right? So IoT is the future, and when you compare web development with that, I'd say web development is something which is very generic, and that is something which is the present trend. But if you're looking to upskill yourself for the future, then I'd say IoT is the way to go. So on that note, I guess this would be it from my side. So thank you very much, guys, and we'll